is Louie. I love Louie. I'm away from him for like 10 minutes and I just fall apart. I love that dog. Yesterday, fully sobbing, imagining him dead. He's a year and a half. And I just look at his little face and he's just like looking up at me like and I'm just like, don't die! In 15 years.
It goes by too fast though.
It goes by too fast. This is so true. I know. I read this beautiful essay by this man who had lost a dog and he was elderly, like nursed this very sick dog and he had lived a long, beautiful life and he's like, all those days that I complained about, you know, picking him up and lifting him up the stairs or, you know, his runny shits or whatever. He's like, I would give anything to pick him up and lift him up the stairs one more time and I could cry right this second.
Sure enough, what Sarah just said about the essay was me. I didn't actually realize it at first. My wife at the end of the show was not where I was and she goes, you know, Sarah was talking about your letter. And I go, no, she wouldn't remember that. And then I played it back as I recorded it and I'm like, holy crap, Sarah not only remembered it, but like talked about it. The letter she was talking about is his obituary, and I'm going to read that. She said an essay. She's not wrong. I sent her some playbills when she was into the woods, asked her to sign them. I started something lovingly ripped off from Dear Evan Hansen called the Spanky Project, where I buy and resell playbills and window cards and things like that, and annually will donate to a dog rescue here just south of Buffalo, New York. And also any money raised through the Sara videos will be donated to the dog rescue. Spanky Cooper, 2003, maybe 2004 to October 2nd, 2021. I'm not an avid reader of obituaries, but whenever I read or hear something in the news, you never hear that person was a bad person. You never hear about their bad qualities. That person was always the most amazing person and was always so sweet. It was just so great. Well, folks, Spanky was an asshole. Sure, it started off great. Face kisses, belly rubs, but I quickly learned that I would have to walk him 3 times a day, sometimes even 4 or 5 as he got older. We initially lived in Florida. It was freaking hot out most of the year and I'm fat, so that was not a great combination. This was my first relationship like this, so it was all new to me. I had to make sure that he had food and water in the morning and night, and I even had to freaking buy it. He never ever once offered to chip in and help buy the groceries or even his own food. I always had to buy it, always. He even got special snacks that tasted awful to me, but he seemed to like them. We moved up to Buffalo, New York in 2010, and I had to spend thousands of dollars on a fence so he wouldn't roam off. Although maybe that was a sign we weren't made for each other if he would have run off and not come back. Which didn't make sense, because I learned we could go on a walk without a leash when we were on our street, and he would always be a couple steps behind me. Somewhere around 2015, 2016, he started to slow down a bit in different ways. When we first started living together, he would sleep in bed with me, and any sort of budging him accidentally in the middle of the night would startle him, and he would yell at me, and I'm all apologetic, and he would just yell at me a few more seconds. However, in the morning, he would have the audacity to wake me up thumping his tail on the bed. Like, bro, come on. How would you like it if I barked at you for waking me up? He eventually started to sleep in the closet, so he took that over and left me with no floor space in the closet. He would continue to jump into bed and thump his tail, though. Like, really, man? Around 2018, his sleeping habits changed again. Instead of jumping into bed, he would whine and cry beside the bed because he was ready to go potty. I had to become a light sleeper because, heavens forbid, I didn't wake up fast enough. He would start to cry and whine and yell at me even more. It was quite the double standard for us in our relationship. He was allowed to sniff and talk to whomever he wanted, but heavens forbid I came home smelling like another dog. He huffed and puffed and wanted nothing to do with me. So I always came home and told him I didn't cheat on him, that I didn't touch another dog, even though there might have been another dog in my face. Are there times I had to touch another dog? Sure. But I declined to pet many dogs over the years, so I could honestly tell him I didn't cheat on him. Sure didn't seem fair he got to do whatever with whomever, though. He had a few medical issues over the years. Thankfully, he was pretty much a healthy dude. He made me fork over some money for some lumps that had to be removed. Nothing cancerous, thankfully. I finally caught a break with him, it seemed. Woo. He never broke any bones or anything. Recently, the past 4 years, he would have his blood checked a couple times a year at $250 to $300+ each time. A little bit of something here, a little bit else there money-wise. Once again, he never offered to pay. Abuse, maybe? The past few years, my family has been his personal potty patrol and more. It started with going pee in the house once a week, twice a week. The last year of his life, it's been, if we can get through a day without pee or poop or vomit in the house, it's a good day. It's like, really, man, you couldn't walk like the 3 extra steps to at least the concrete out back instead of in the house? Speaking of concrete, I'm sorry to all of my neighbors who have had to stare at his literal dog poop on their driveways the last couple years. Spanky decided the last couple years of his life that pooping on someone's driveway was acceptable, so I am sorry. I tried to clean it up the best I could with a bag, but he wasn't about to carry a hose to clean it up, neither was I. My wife and I finally met a girl who thinks the weird stuff I do like this is acceptable. We were on our honeymoon the last week of September in 2021, and I got a text on Thursday the 23rd from my mom, who was having her own issues. Hopefully that obituary is still years and years away. She says to call her, it's about Spanky. I'm thinking she's just mad she has to do the poop and pee patrol. Well, he had pooped and peed in the house upwards of 7 or 8 times that day, and my heart sunk. I was hoping it's something he had ate, but, He also hadn't eaten anything that day, which was very unusual for him. He is a Cooper, after all. Friday, he didn't eat or drink, and I'm not happy and debating coming home early, but we didn't. Saturday, the same thing. He didn't eat or drink anything. We get home Sunday, and he still hadn't ate or drank anything. Spanky decides to spend another $640 at his doctor of choice to get hydrated and some medication. Wish he would have just drank some Gatorade for $3, but he decided he was too good for Gatorade. He gets home Monday after the doctor and takes a nap and gets up and drinks a ton and eats a little people food. Holy hell, he's cured. The little asshole isn't ready to go yet. False alarm. Forward all week and he hasn't touched his food at all. This special, expensive food because of his kidney issues. No cheap stuff for him. He's eaten some people food and drank occasionally. I finally came to terms with it being his time, and I'll tell you what. I wish I could continue to pick up his piss and shit for a few more years. He had a near-death experience about 5 months before we put him down, and I'm considering that time bonus time, but it doesn't make it any easier. That was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, and it absolutely destroyed me. He was my first, and going on 2 years later, my only dog. He was absolutely the perfect boy for me. I miss his tail thumping so much. I used to laugh most mornings because he would thump his tail to wake me up, then come in for snuggles. I miss that so much. I used to work from home, and he would come in and demand attention, and I gave it to him, but I wish I gave him more. I even set up a bed on my desk so he could sit with me. He would usually stick his head into me to get pets. I miss that. He hasn't given a kiss in the last couple years that he was alive. He's mostly deaf now. He can sure see the deer he used to bark at. He just now, prior to putting him down, wanted to sleep. He barely cares about anything anymore, it seems. But I miss him so freaking much. And I haven't known what to do without him. Please, everyone, love your dogs a little more for me and tell them that you love them. Because of Saturday 21st, 2021, I couldn't tell Spanky how much I loved him. So that is Spanky, the asshole. But he's my asshole that doesn't give kisses or pets and makes me clean up his piss and poop. I love you and I miss you, Spanky.